at night when the kids are in bed, I try to write some books. So the first two were part of like the D.A. Erica Piper series, so a bit more gory. Although I didn't think they were, but apparently they were. And actually, upon reading it back, people were probably right. And then I'm not good with blood myself. So the main character in the new one, which I've got a copy here, is very much more like me, scared of blood, bit of a wimp, kind of gets thrown into being a detective in this sort of Sherlock style. He didn't really want to be, and then he quite liked it in the end. But yeah, they're a bit more fun and much less blood.
Brilliant. That's super. So, and what are you working on at the moment, Chris? Are you working on a next book, or are you still recovering from the last one?
I've got 6 of these little ones to write. So I've finished the second one. I was about 7,000 words into the third when I had the idea for the fourth. It was really yeah, it was, the initial spark of an idea is much more fun than like sort of halfway through. So I've started that. So I'm all at sea with about 3 different things at the minute. So yeah, it's a nice time and sort of
Brilliant.
creative at the minute. So
that's great. And would you like to introduce our guest tonight, Roxie?
I absolutely would. Roxie is below me, which isn't a great start.
I'm actually up and to the side of you on my screen.
Oh yeah. Roxie, I've known not even a year now. I don't actually know. We're sort of in this. We sort of met through VNAT B, which was an amazing event run by Simon and Vic. Through lockdown, it really, really brought a lot of people together, and it did with us. And we've never met in real life. Roxie is a fantastic author in her own right, and I'm sure you'll be hearing loads about her in the coming months. So, yes, I'm very pleased that she's agreed to be here tonight.
Great. So, good evening, Roxie. Do you want to tell us, to introduce yourself after that great introduction from Chris? Do you want to tell us a little bit more yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Roxie. My day job is copywriting for Avon Cosmetics. I write books in the evenings. I read a lot and I do a lot of blog reviews as well about books.
Wonderful. Great, that's great, really good. Right, so we'll get into it. So I'll ask you both to pick 7 books to take with you, as well as the Tilly and Poe series that you would imaginarily take with you. So first of all, Chris, do you want to tell us a little bit about your first book?
Yes. So I was going to go in chronological order, but I think I'll just go the way I've written it down. The importance, maybe, or not, I don't know. The first one, about 4 or 5 years ago, my wife got me. It's massive, and it's every Sherlock story ever written, and it's like one of those really fancy-looking ones, and I absolutely love it. So, I mean, the inside's amazing, but the aesthetic of it and how it looks is beautiful as well. I think those stories are just like timeless and so much fun and filled with so many things that you can go back and see the little clues, which yeah, I think they're really brilliant. So, and obviously there's loads of them as well, so it would keep me going for a while. So yeah, Sherlock collection, if I may.
You had a whole collection, did you say?
Well, I'm trying to, but I don't know if I'll be allowed. But it's big enough that I could bash somebody over the head with it and they couldn't say no.
Do you want to take a lot of room up in your case when you go on this island, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it would. But I'm happy with that.
But you would be happy with that, yeah. That's a good timeless, that one, isn't it? So, whenever you could read that. So that's a great first choice. And what about you, Roxie? What's your first choice?
So the first one that came to mind was the first crime novel that I ever wrote, ever read. Great start. So there's a series that I really love by Jane Casey about a detective called Maeve Kerrigan. And I picked this book up called The Missing, about 10 years ago, and I really loved her writing style, and I found out she had a whole series about this detective, so I would pick the first book in the series, which is called The Burning, because it was the thing that inspired me to write in the first place, to write crime.
Lovely. That's a good one. Good.
Can I take
And
the
it
whole
was
series?
Oh, no. I'll be ruthless. Unless you
Take
can
the
do a
first
Chris
one.
and get them all in one collection.
I don't think she's published them in one big book, but maybe one day.
Yeah, maybe. And what about you, Chris? What's your second one?
Second one is The Seven Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. It's amazing by Stu Turton. I actually made away, and then I went back and read The Seven Deaths, and I think because you're going to be stuck on this island for a long time, I imagine. So I think you could read that book 10 times and still not spot every little clue along the way. And I definitely don't have time to do that in real life, but on an island, I'd gladly sit and try and work out how he did it. He's a clever, clever man.
Great, yeah, and as you say, it's great when you get a book that you can read a couple of times, and both times you'll, or a few times, and you'll pick up new things every time. It's
Yeah.
how everything gets intertwined. That's great. So another good choice. And what about you, Roxie? What's your second one?
So I'm going retro for this one, and I have a copy here. I'm going to take a childhood favourite because I might need a little bit of nostalgia, and it's my favourite Harry Potter.
Great.
Ah, nice.
Yeah.
The adult version, Prisoner of Azkaban, because I love time travel element.
That's a really good one.
Logically speaking, I should take the Goblet of Fire because it's about 5 times the size. But...
Yeah. So I was going to say, how did you decide?
Yeah,
would you have taken? Would you do the same again if they were available all in one big big collection?
Oh,
would you? Yeah, of course.
Keep you going for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, keep you going. That's great. But I like that choice. And what about your third one, Chris?
Well, I've gone for a Harry Potter one as well, and I was going to try and get away with the collection. I've gone for the first one, The Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the one that like really ignited my love with reading, and I still, every time I read Maker, I get goosebumps still. I absolutely love that chapter. It's probably my favorite chapter of anything that's ever been written. So for that book alone, yeah.
Good to see Harry Potter getting into the spotlight there. That's great.
Yeah.
And what's your next one, Roxie?
So I would go with another crime novel, I Let You Go by Claire McIntosh, which is a book. I really loved it. I really loved the twist and everything with that one. But it's the book that I keep buying and then lending to people and then buying again because I want to keep a copy. Ironically, it's in my loft because I had a bit of a clear out and I couldn't bear to part with it, but I don't have any space. So I couldn't hold one, but it's up in my loft.
Lovely, that's great. Nice little story to that one as well. And what's your? Are we on fourth or fifth now, Chris? What's yours next one?
4.
Four.
My fourth is The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, which because my one's called The Curious Dispatch of Daniel Costello. Every time I'm typing it into something, I go for The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime and have to delete loads of stuff. That book, just like to see a main character with sort of special needs. It was the first time that I'd ever seen anything like that. I thought it was really, brave at the time, and yeah, just the mystery of it and the way it's written and seeing it through his point of view was really eye-opening for different characters. I got to see it on stage like 4 years ago, and it was brilliant. It was like in a cube, and all the walls lit up differently, and they were it was just really well done. But yeah, that book I keep returning to, and I find something different every time.
And to see it on stage as well gives a different dimension as well, I presume, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It just adds to it. Yeah. So when just on that subject, then your book, The Curious Dispatch of Daniel Costello, did you pick that or did your publishers choose it?
I picked it. They're pretty good with allowing me to do whatever I want, really. Because it's like a pretty small one, and Sean is the main man. Yeah. We've got a really good relationship, and we can just chat it through. I quite liked it because I'm going to admit I've never read an Agatha Christie, and every time I start, I don't know if I've been in the right frame of mind or whatever, but yeah, I thought it was quite golden agey, and it's not, the book isn't set nowadays and stuff, but I thought it fitted it quite well, and I always like those titles with the something of name, so I quite wanted one of them, and then it sort of just sprung out one day.
Yeah, love the title. Great. It gets you thinking about the story before you've even opened a page. So yeah.
It's very good as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you.
And what's your fourth book, Roxie?
Okay, so I'm going to take something that's a little bit funny. So I'm going to bring Sarah Millican with me
right.
for all the laughs. And read it in my head in her accent.
Could you do the accent now?
No, please don't make me do a Geordie accent. Nick will kill me. It's terrible.
I always find it difficult with humour, because it's like humour's, I find anyway, it's very hard to read in a book for something that is, he's telling you on the cover that it's humour, but it's great when you do get a good one, because it's just, as you say, it's just something that you can go back to any time and just get a laugh from. So it's good for the soul, really, isn't it? So that's great.
Yeah.
And what's your number 5 then, Chris?
5 is a book called Flowers for Algernon, which I think is like science fiction-y almost. I can't remember when it was written, but it's about this man who has got like a really low IQ. So the start of it is written from his point of view, and it's all like sort of misspelt and stuff like that. And it's a diary entry. And I bought it for someone at Secret Santa this year. And I was reading the start of it again before I wrapped it, and it's just like, it's so funny at the start, where they're showing like, the Rorschach test with like the sort of spilled ink. Yeah. And they were saying, what can you see? And he just kept saying, I think someone spilled ink on the page, because he doesn't understand. And it's just so sweet, but really funny. And then they give him like this sort of drug to make him smart, and it's about how people start seeing him differently and treating him and stuff. So it's a really interesting one. But yeah, there's humor and there's just beautiful writing. I also read it on the way back from Amsterdam on like a bus that took 16 hours or something, and it's like really fond memories of sitting by like the canal in Amsterdam. So yeah, the less said about Amsterdam, the better.
Yeah, well, that's
that book was great.
Yeah, we perhaps won't go there, but I like the idea when, when you can remember where you've read a book as well, which is good. You read a really good book, but you can even remember where you've read it, which is great. And what about you, Roxie? What's your next one?
Am I allowed to take an audio book?
You go on, yeah.
Just because this particular
you only get power 1 hour a day, so that might make it a little bit difficult.
Just because this book I listened to on audio, and it was just absolutely outstanding, and it was How to Disappear by Gillian McAllister, and it was read by Nicola Walker, who I love as an actress anyway, and it just really brought it to life, and I just could not stop listening to it. It was just absolutely fantastic, and it's a really twisty psychological thriller about witness protection. Really recommend it to anyone that likes thrillers. Really good.
Great, I like the sounds of that. I'm not really into audio books. I'm still waiting for one to grab me, but it does that does sound interesting, and great to take on a desert island with you, or a remote island with you. And what's your sixth one, Chris?
I've gone the slightly unorthodox route here in that I've not read it yet. But so yeah, I could regret it. But I've gone for The Stand by Stephen King, which I'm reliably informed is incredible.
Yeah.
So there we go. I've made a good decision.
Yeah.
I went through I'd not read any until last year, and I read 3 or 4 in quite quick succession, and then bought The Stand, and I sort of like, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
And then it's 1,400 pages, so I sort of got intimidated. So I thought, and then trying to find time, and especially with the podcast, you kind of have to read whoever is coming on. So my reading time is sort of dictated a little bit. So 1,400 pages is not going to happen in the near future. But if I had a bit of R&R time, Roxie's got her headphones in, listening to Gillian McAllister, I can be reading The Stand. It works out perfect.
That's great. But yeah, you've got to make time to read that, because it is a cracking book. And I think when Stephen King writes off his usual genre, off the actual sort of straight horror stuff, I think he writes even better, because there's like Mr. Mercedes and the one December 63, I forget what the date was, on November 63, and things like that, where it is a little bit off genre. They're absolutely brilliant books. So yeah, you'll enjoy that when you get round to it. And what about you, Roxie? What's your number 6, Roxie?
So this would be quite a short read, but I do love this book, and I think if I was alone on an island for a long time, I might feel a bit down. So I would take I'm never get it in the right order, The Boy, the Mole, the Fox and the Horse, for all the lovely positive messaging and beautiful illustrations.
Right. Yeah, lovely. And you got it with you as well, which
very
is
uplifting.
Ready packed. That's great. So now on to the last one, number 7. So what's yours, Chris?
I'm going to take my book of the year from last year, I think, which was We Begin at the End by Chris Whitaker. I think have you read it?
I have, but I tried, but I must admit I'm one of the very few people who couldn't get into it. I think I've read too much UK crime, and I just couldn't get into it. I just ended up, I tried, because it was our choice for the book club, or one of the choices, but I just couldn't finish it.
I only heard good things about that one.
Yeah. I take that. The main character, Duchess, I just thought was like nothing I'd ever read. She was, I think her attitude would help me get through it.
Yeah.
Not that, obviously, I love Roxie's company, but if things got tough, a little bit of Duchess Day Radley's fighting spirit might get me through.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to try and read it again, maybe in a year or so, and just give it a, just clear my head and just have a read, but I don't know if it was a language but I just couldn't get into it. But I've heard so many great things, and it appeared in so many like top 20 lists for last year, so it's obviously it's just me, but I can recommend all of our listeners to give that one a try if they've not read it. And what about you, Roxie? What's your last book?
So I'm going to take one of the books I haven't read yet off my TBR pile that I've been meaning to read, and it's this one.
He's very apt.
Because I've read the second one. So I've read the second one because I was reading it for the blog tour, and I had to read it quickly. I didn't have time to read the first one, and then I ordered the first one on Kindle, and then I ordered the paperback because it was really pretty. So yeah. And I really love the second one. Genuinely, I'm not just saying it because Chris is genuinely so good. So I'm
Chris
really
said the check's in the post.
Yeah, too right, is it?
Oh, that's great choices, and nice to get a mix of genres as well in there. So that's thanks for going through them. So, as I say, we've on our imaginary island, Montague Island, we believe it's deserted, but there is some form of electricity there for about an hour a day. And with that, you can listen to a music CD. So have you both chosen a music CD that you could that you would take with you to uplift you, or to get you through it? What's yours, Chris?
Uplift is not the right word for mine. There's this guy, Stephen Keaty, I think. I don't even know how to pronounce his surname, but that's what I'm going to go for. He runs this thing on Twitter called 8 Albums, and I've become quite close to him, and again, only on Twitter. But he's doing this thing this year where he's listening to an album a day in full, and I love that idea. So I've gone back to a few of my favorites, and there's a metal band called Machine Head. who I love, or I did love like 10 years ago, and they released an album called The Blackening, which
Sounds
is
really
like,
cheerful.
yeah,
It does.
like,
Really uplifting, yeah.
yeah. There's a song called, well, it starts with a song called "Clenching the Fists of Dissent," and I used to listen to that on my way to five-a-side to get me like all revved up. It is just like balls out metal from the moment it starts, and it's like 8 songs, and they're all over 10 minutes, and it's it just get you going. So if I needed to go like do firewood or whatever, I imagine like myself sort of some sort of Bear Grylls, you know, doing it for us, Roxie. So I listen to that, pop those in the headphones, and then just go wrestle like bears and stuff. So yeah, The Blackening, Machine Head.
Great, love it. And it sounds like you don't have a good fire, Roxy, anyway. All that wood that Chris will be cutting up. And what about you, Roxy? What's your choice of music CD?
I struggled with this because it was just really hard to pick one.
It is.
So I was going to go with the Holy Bible by Manic Street Preachers, but I thought it would be quite dark. So I'll take the one that I've got the matching t-shirt.
Nice. Yes. Yeah, very nice.
Absolutely love this album. Always loved it. Yeah, it's just a classic, isn't it?
It's one of them where even if you took the name off, you would still just know what it was by the cover. It's just like it's one of them classic albums, isn't it? But yeah, that's great. Good choice.
You win the album choices, I think.
Yeah, don't try and play them both at the same time.
I could do a whole one of these with albums, I think.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, definitely. And the next thing, again, on the limited electric you've got, you can only play the electric for an hour a day. So which film, DVD or video would you choose? Chris, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I've had to think about this. I've not, since having children, my productivity of watching films has gone down because you don't get a spare moment. So I've not watched anything really recent. So my first choice, well, my first thought was Interstellar because I didn't really understand it, but I enjoyed it. So I thought if I could watch it over and over and over again, I might understand the mechanics of it. But then I thought, actually, you probably just want a bit of light entertainment. And I've watched this film so many times. I've picked The Blues Brothers. I could recite it word for word in year 6. I watched it so many times. So I'm not sure that's, you know, what that says about my mum's parenting, that she liked me for that. But yeah, just because then you get free music as well, and all the songs are incredible, and there's car chases and there's all sorts. So yes, the Blues Brothers. Got a bit of everything in that film, hasn't it? The music, the action, and everything. So yeah, that's great. Yeah. Good one. And what about you, Roxy? What's your film of choice?
This is not cool in any way. And Chris, I don't know if you like musicals.
I do.
Do you? Yeah. Okay. And so I saw this film about 5 times in the cinema. 2 of those were the sing-along version.
Yes.
And it reminds me of when times were normal and we could just go to the cinema. And me and my wife, every Christmas, normally go to backyard cinema and watch one of our favourite films with beanbags and blankets and mulled wine. And this was the last one we did that. And it was just a really lovely memory.
Yeah.
And yeah, I saw it so many times at the cinema. And it's just, I know it's going to be a classic.
When times were normal, you sound like talking about a war, but I know what you mean.
Did you cry at it?
Did I cry? I think the first couple of times I cry quite easily.
Did you, Chris?
Yeah, I do, especially. Yeah, well, when I've got this weird thing about musicals, or like when music sort of comes to a big swell, I cry. And like I've cried. I went to see Phantom of the Opera like 3 times, and I cry every single time. But that one I went to watch with my wife in the cinema, and she looked over a few times, and she's like, "Are you crying again?" It was like not even a sad bit. So yeah, musical, like sort of big. The finale bit of musicals really always get me.
You've got 2 little girls as well. So did you like connect with a little bit?
Let's go to you. Yeah, I
All
did
right,
connect with the
good.
little girls. Yeah.
He will. You look forward. You look forward to taking
I didn't have you
your
down as a musical
daughters.
man.
Yeah. Look forward to taking your daughters, Chris, won't you, when we're a little bit older? So that's great.
Yeah.
So now this next choice is an interesting one, because obviously there's going to be no cooking or anything like that. You'll have to build Chris's fire with all his logs. So a favourite food or meal? Chris, do you want to start?
Yeah. My wife's mum does. I mean, Christmas dinner is the ultimate of dinners, I think, and it always makes my tummy sore afterwards because I eat so much. But yeah, she makes like just the best Christmas dinner. And I think also we only go there because they live down in Tenby, so it's like a 6-hour drive. So we go maybe 2 or 3 times a year, but we're always there for Christmas, and it's always really special. So I think along with the amazing food comes like nice memories. So yeah, it's, Sarah's mum's Christmas dinner.
That would be your little Red Cross parcel, would it? Just get it dropped on the island every Christmas Day.
Absolutely, yeah. I'd
that's
take
great.
that, yeah.
Yeah. And what about you, Roxie? What's yours?
Well, I think we'll be dining together because I also picked Christmas dinner.
Hey!
But with everything, Yorkshire puddings, pigs and blankets. And I'd go roast chicken rather than anything else.
Yeah, we like a chicken. Who's cooking yours?
Well, we did our first Christmas dinner this year. It's the first year we didn't see any family, and we did a really good job. So I'd say ours.
Lovely.
Great. So you're not going to
family
go
and
hungry,
stuff.
Chris?
No,
just
yeah,
don't you
that.
don't.
And also,
Go on.
I was just going to say, with you cooking it yourself, we're not limited to just Christmas. We can have it whenever we want.
Every day.
That's
Yeah.
it, every day. Yeah, just as long as you take it.
I say we.
Yeah, we.
Yes.
That's great. And the last choice is a luxury item. So what would you both choose for that? So go ahead, Chris. What's yours?
I've gone between 2 here because I might try and sneak one in. My first thought was like painkiller tablets because if I get like a headache, I'm just horrible to be around and whiny, and that's not nice for anyone. Yeah.
It's all that loud music you're playing.
Yeah. But maybe then I thought, with no stresses in life, except for being stranded on an island, and in my head it's like a tropical island, but actually it's in Cumbria, isn't it? So it's going to be like rain swept and stuff. So either tablets, which I think are important, or a guitar maybe, because then I can make my own music, and it's quite de-stressing as well, isn't it? Just strumming away. So yeah, I might go for a guitar. Yeah,
I'm going to pin you down. Which one though, Chris? You can only have one, so I'm going to pin you down. Guitar or tablets?
I'll take my guitar, I think.
Yay! Yeah, I like that. And what about you, Roxie? Headphones, so you can't hear Chris's guitar playing.
I mean, no, I love a guitar, so I was really hoping you were going to say guitar. I was between a few as well, because I didn't really know what counted as luxury. I would have said painkillers, you would have just had them anyway. They're not a luxury.
No, fine, yeah.
I thought about, those blow-up beds that kids get that have like a blanket inbuilt into it.
No, I've not.
I've seen them. They're like a little camping bed. It's like blow-up bed, but it's got a duvet like attached.
No, that sounds like a dream.
So it's one item because it's a duvet / blow-up bed thing.
Clever.
And then I thought my laptop, so I'd get some books written, but
yeah.
But you've only got power for 1 hour a day as well, so that's and you wouldn't have any internet, so.
Okay. I will go with the bed, and then you can play lovely tunes to help me sleep.
I like those choices. That's great. That's really good. Well, thank you. We found out a lot about both of you today, and it's great to hear all the different choices, and hopefully it'll encourage people to go out and buy the books and listen to the music, and maybe make a Christmas dinner in Yeah, middle of January, you never know. So before we finish, perhaps you can, well, first of all, Chris, if you can tell us a little bit about where everyone can find your books, and where to get them and your publishers and things like that. And then Roxie, if you can tell us a little bit about your writing and what we can expect from you, or what we can expect from you both in 2021. So over to you, Chris.
Right, so I should have had them. I've got a Wash of Black here, and I've got this one. I don't have the middle one, so that's great advertising, isn't it? But yeah, if like me, you need a copy. You could go to the Red Dog Press website. They're available on Amazon and stuff like that. But Red Dog Press is like an indie. And obviously it's quite a hard time for businesses in general, but especially small indies that they're trying things. And Red Dogger, I think, their covers are amazing, and he's a sort of one-man team almost, and he's like superhuman. He's an author himself, and I think the value in going to their website, and it comes beautifully packaged in sort of nice red tissue paper and stuff, and the personal touch. So if you'd like to buy it, I would I'd say go to the Red Dog website and look at what they've got. It's a very cool place.
Wonderful it is. And can you tell us a little bit about, for those that don't know, a little bit about the podcast?
Yeah, so it kind of was born out of lockdown. I got asked. I was very lucky to be included in it. And my publisher, Sean, Rob Parker, who's another incredible author and probably the nicest man to walk the earth.
Rob is actually coming on here sometime later in the year, so.
Oh, is he? Very cool. You'll have a lovely time. He is honestly the nicest man. So I was lucky to get involved. I still sort of feel like an imposter in it because those two are but we were lucky that we've got a different author each week, and we're very lucky that the people that we've talked to, we've had like the best of the best on, and they're all very, very cool, lovely people. And it's what I found, because my first book came out in February last year, so I've not even been at this a year, but you're treated like an equal, and it's just a very cool community. In a time when sort of the internet is rife with sort of fairly not very nice people, the writing community is just a real source of strength and friendship. So it's a cool place.
And where can people I think it's on Spotify, isn't it, the podcast? Do they have a website?
No, it's on so it's on Spotify, it's on Apple Podcasts, Podbean. We've got a Twitter, which I don't know what the handle is. Blood Bros Pod, maybe.
I think it's Blood Bros Pod.
I run it, and I have no idea. So,
and I think you've got a Facebook page as well, haven't they? But I'm not certain.
I don't think we do now.
Roxie.
Good Roxie.
So following that, right, Roxie, the stage is yours. Tell us about what you're going to be up to this year and about your writing.
Well, I'm on probably the 100th draft of my first book. So that's I'm working on that with my agent now, and should be going out to publishers in the next month.
Great.
And then we'll see. And I'm about halfway through the second book as well, so I'm sort of dipping in and out from book 1 to book 2. Hopefully it'll be a series. That's the plan.
Great.
But I don't know anything more than that.
So is it crime or is it what genre is it?
Did I leave that bit out? Yes. So it's sort of a bit of a hybrid police procedural / psychological thriller.
Oh, lovely.
Bit of both. Can
you tell us a little bit about it, or?
Oh, that's always a fun question. Well, it's called Burn Again. Obviously publishers sometimes change titles, so it may not be called that. But it starts with a house fire that's been set on purpose, and it kills 2 people. And we have the main character, Evelyn Phillips, who's the detective who's looking into it, and then it's like a dual perspective, dual timeline kind of story. So you flick in and out of different characters' perspectives, which are the kind of things I love to read.
Great.
So
That's
hopefully
wonderful.
people will love it.
And is this under your own name, or have you got a pen name, or?
No, it's under my name. I've been told it's a good author name, and a few people have asked me if it's a pen name, but it's not. It's my real name.
Great, wonderful. And do you have a author page on Facebook or a web page or anything where people can find out about you in preparation for when it's released?
I have a Twitter and a blog.
Go on, give us your blog, and because I'm sure you will be telling people on your blog when it's due to be released. So if you can provide us with your blog, and then people can pop in there and have a look.
It's nothing exciting. It's roxiekey.blogspot.com, I think, or hold on. See, I don't know my own thing.
We're so well prepared, aren't we?
You're going to ask questions about me.
Got to put you on the spot a little bit. Although you've both done great preparation, we've got to put you on the spot a little bit.
Yes, it's roxiekey.blogspot.com.
Great. Well, we can all go along and check there, and do put something on there when your book is being published, so as everybody can know where to look. That's great. Now I see we've got one of our Bookend members listening, Sean. Is it Sean or Sean?
It's Sean, it's Welsh.
It is. I'm terrible at pronouncing names. Sorry. I'm just wondering, thank you for listening to us quietly. I'm just wondering if you've got any questions for either of our guests.
I'm an avid reader, and I haven't read any of Chris's books, but I was just intrigued by the premise, because I don't listen to Desert Island Discs religiously, but I come across them on Radio 4 Extra or something, and then, it is a fascinating insight into, it makes people talk about themselves when they don't realise they're talking about themselves, I suppose, in a way. And I thought it's a really good premise, and I hope it takes off.
Great.
And I loved, I wouldn't have read the Tilly and Poe series if it wasn't for Bookends. I'd never.
Great.
And I read one of them for the book club, read it in the wrong order, didn't I? I read the second one, and I loved it. And then I had to go back and read the others. I mean, one of the best books I've read in a long time. The series is fantastic. I found it very similar to the Mr. Mercedes series. There's quite a lot of similarities. Nothing wrong with that. But Tilly and Poe, I just love them. And of course, the fact that you've named the island or used the island from the book intrigued me as well. So I'll try and read the first book of Chris's. Not Chris's.
It is,
Chris.
yes.
No, I don't even know what I'm talking about. It's Chris. Yes, it's just that I've written because you recommended Chris Whitaker's book, The Begin at the End, and I'm looking at that because I've written it down. It's another Chris.
He is. He's a better Chris.
Yeah, no, I'm sure not. But I'm just through lockdown and the pandemic and everything. I mean, I was always into books, but joining these kind of websites, and I've joined the 52 books a year challenge thing, which is quite interesting. But what you perhaps don't know is I'm in Guernsey.
Oh, nice.
Very nice.
We're one of the few places in the world, I reckon, where we've actually got a completely normal life. We've got no cases of COVID on the island.
Oh, man.
Wow. That is
I'm
amazing.
really jealous and tell you I'm going out for brunch on Sunday.
Oh,
gosh.
And you can drink beer in a pub. Wow.
We can go in the pub. I got my hair done last week. I went out for my birthday.
Oh, no, you just depressed all of us now.
I go to my book club at the library. Yeah, it's completely normal. No face masks, no social distancing.
Wow, we come to your island.
The thing is, we can't get off the island.
That's
we can't get off. That's the only issue. I wasn't able to get home at Christmas. My daughter's in the UK, so literally.
I'm assuming they're not letting anyone in either.
They're only at the moment. They're only letting in people who live on the island who are returning, and critical workers pretty much.
Probably want to keep it that way, don't you?
Yeah, definitely.
Well,
Yeah.
they've been very effective at keeping we've had no circulating COVID.
That's amazing.
We want to keep it that way. Yeah.
Great. That's a nice uplifting story to for us all to be thinking of maybe in a few months' time, but we'll hopefully all be in a similar position. But nice to hear
hope so.
every
And I've had
other's
my
list.
two vaccinations.
Great.
I had my second vaccination on Sunday.
Wow.
Brilliant.
That's
I'm a
wonderful.
nurse, so I'm in
great.
the.
Amazing.
Yeah, amazing. A big round of applause for all the nurses as well that might be listening, as well as yourselves. So that's something we can all definitely support. Well, thank you all very much for attending. Just to let everybody know, we've got a few more sessions coming up already booked. Although this was the first one. On the 29th of January, we've got Robert Scragg. On the 4th of February, we've got Chris Berry. The 11th of February, we've got Leslie Cryer. The 18th of February, we've got Diane Saxon. And on the 25th of February, we've got Graham Smith, who writes as John Ryder. And we hope you will both come back and join us again in the future when you've got new books coming out. So thank you very much for attending, and just refer anyone who's interested in finding out more to the page. There is a Montague Island Books page on Facebook, or just come along and join the Bookends group. So thank you very much for your time this evening, ladies and gents, and we'll see you again soon.
You.
Thank
Goodbye.
you. Bye-bye.